your best self, Queen. Hello everyone, and welcome back to a special presentation of Anime Club After Dark. I'm your host, Sho, and joining me tonight, we have Alex Senpai.
Help me, I'm snowed in. Not really, I live in Florida.
No, you're not. Wow. That offends me, because I live in Canada, where snow is about to come literally tomorrow. You fucking privileged white American. Okay.
Let me go to the beach and piss you off even more.
Motherfucker. So today we will be talking about being snowed in, yes, in the 15th episode of Vinland Saga, where the main event is that ACAD ends up killing Ragnar, which we will talk about near the end of the episode.
Which the OP totally didn't give away.
Hey, Ragnar, he disintegrated into snow, right?
Before Askeladd did.
Which means Askeladd's gonna die too, girl. What I said. So, would you care to comment on the state of affairs with Thorkel, Mr. Alex?
Okay, so we actually got to see Thorkel again this episode, thankfully. I will say, the more I see Thorkel, the more I'm absolutely loving him as a character. His bloodthirstiness is very entertaining. But one of the things that does happen is Thorkel, as what I'm assuming is that his band, his army that he has is in this town resting. They have a messenger come up and tell him that they have learned the whereabouts of Askeladd, Canute, and Thorfinn. They don't actually tell him that. They tell him that there is a
Danish.
Yeah, a Danish unit or whatever that has set up camp in a village somewhere in their territory, and he kind of reckons that it's probably Askeladd, Canute, and Thorfinn. But one of the things you also see is a little bit of a dive into Thorkel's character, and we've kind of talked about this before because he's sort of hinted at this before as well, that he has this desire for an absolute constant state of war all over the world, and that kind of plays into his character because he thinks the only way to assure himself a place in the afterlife is to die in battle, especially to die nobly in battle. And the only way to assure that happens for him is to have a war keep raging on that he can fight in. And I love that little monologue that he has about just this desire to be at war constantly.
Yep.
It says a lot about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely been touched on before in this show, but we get to see more of it and get it explained in detail more.
Also, what a fucking glutton he is. He's just constantly eating.
Guess. I don't know why he eats so much. Maybe because
he's big. He a chonky boy.
Oh, sure. Because he has a very wide swing. We will leave it at that. Yeah. So, various other things happen, but I wanted to talk about a particular scene in this episode where the priest Ragnar and Canute are praying to a mound of snow with a wooden cross in it, which apparently Alex enlightened me before this episode started was supposed to be a grave marker for the villagers, which I'm like, girl.
I don't know that for a fact. I'm just kind of assuming because it makes sense.
I guess, but first of all, who has the time to bury people? The second of all, that's a small ass grave marker for all those people. Either way, what I found particularly interesting about that scene was that the priest, midway through prayer, was like, God, why would you let this happen? What is wrong with you? And then Canute's like, you motherfucker, don't you ever question the Holy Father. Every father loves his son. And I'm like, Canute, you're going crazy. And that was very out of character of him, and clearly it's supposed to tell the viewers that there's something going on between, his own dad, the king, and him, which we do find out later in the episode that there is, in fact, something going on there. Do you wanna?
uh, yeah. First of all, I thought that particular scene that we're talking about, it's really well acted. It's voice acted. Like Knut's just the outburst, it's so well voiced, it's so well done. And then the fact that he just storms away afterwards, like, I had nothing to do with you ever again.
Yeah, when that scene initially happened, I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but there's something going on.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. I was just like, okay, whatever. You'll tell me later. But I was interested.
Also, it's funny that like the priest, who you would assume is like the most devout and the most like spiritual and all, he's the first one questioning his faith.
Girl, for a priest, he is quite the sinner. It's particularly the gluttonous sinner.
Well, he's certainly a drunk.
I don't know if that's considered gluttony or not.
It could be.
So would you like to explain what exactly Knut's relationship with his father is?
Yes. I was wondering why there was such a long pause there. So we find out later in the episode, or a little bit later, that Knut's basically being used as a pawn by his father, King Svein, and that Knut has a brother that I forget the word that they use in the episode, but like the
half brother.
I'm talking about the people who are trying to decide who needs to be king. I should have wrote that down.
I don't know, factions.
Anyway, they're kind of split 50-50 on who should take the throne after King Svein's death, whether it should be Canute or it should be Harold, Canute's brother. And the whole idea of sending Canute to battle or to the front lines way before he was ready was so that Canute would end up being killed and there would only be one rightful heir to the throne. And so it would stop the infighting. And like he has this outburst about every father loving his child, and I don't think a loving father would actually use their child like a pawn in a chess game.
And so clearly Canute has daddy issues and wants a strong man in his life to give him direction. And King Svein is not that man that is fulfilling his expectations.
Oh, let me guess who you think it is. Or who you think should be fulfilling those. You're the one that keeps wanting to ship Thorfinn and Canute. Come on,
Thorfinn
man.
can't be the father figure when he's the shortest character.
Oh, and they're also the same age.
Listen, you don't have to be old to be a daddy.
That's true.
Oh my god. But more on topic. I was actually surprised by this plot reveal because I never got that like conniving feeling from King Svein. I thought he was pretty sincere. He's like, where's my son? Make sure my son is protected. Like, oh, you assume he's dead? Like, show me the receipts. Where was he last seen? Have you seen a body? And I'm like, girl, you were like really thorough. You really care. But then apparently he doesn't. I was like, what?
And actually, there's that scene in this episode where Floki is the one that's telling King Svein what's happened, and King Svein's like, "So Canute's dead, right?" And Floki's like, "Well, I haven't seen the receipts yet, but."
Also, in that scene, I think it was in this episode where we see King Swine's back. It's like scarred. So apparently, he was like a really battle-hardened warrior, which you wouldn't have been able to tell from his
previous
current
appearances.
State. Yes, but because like honestly, when I first saw King Swine, I'm like, how do these bloodthirsty fucking barbarians follow this old decrepit old man? But apparently he has like I guess assumedly he has a reputation of having been quite the king of barbarians in his own warlike way. So I guess that makes more sense why he's a king. Thought that was interesting. So we cut to like this like really short scene where the brothers in Askeladd's troop are talking amongst each other, and they're like counting all the mishaps that have happened along Askeladd's plan that he hatched to get them off of Thorkel's sights, or out of Thorkel's sights. And they're like, Askeladd is running out of luck, and which is exactly what we've been saying this entire time for the last 5 episodes.
Yeah.
So his men are now verbalizing what we as viewers have been seeing, and the clock is ticking, Askeladd. We've been saying this. We keep saying this, but Askeladd, you're gonna die. Just saying that. Saying that again.
I mean, yeah. It is interesting seeing how some of his, I guess you would say, more trusted members of his troop are starting to question what he's doing and if he actually knows what he's doing at all. I still think they haven't been given carte blanche to go ahead and mutiny against him, but there's definitely those seeds that are being sown.
I love these kind of shows where it's all about persuading the mob to follow you. And it's all about how much charisma you have. And because if you have enough charisma, you can persuade the worst possible situation in your favor. So actually,
that's kind
I
of
would be
what
interested.
World War II was about.
Oh my. But I would be interested in seeing if Askeladd can turn this around. And if he can, I would be very impressed and I would find that a very enjoyable viewing experience. So Askeladd, you've been shit out of luck for a long time, but I'm still holding out hope for you. Still holding out hope. You can still be someone's daddy. Just hold in there.
Yeah.
So there's another scene in this episode that I found particularly appealing. Wait,
let me guess.
So there's a scene where Ragnar catches Thorfinn hauling in a rabbit he just hunted, and is like, I know you don't know how to cook that rabbit because I've seen what you do to your food. Let me cook it for you, girl. And Thorfinn's like, I could eat my own food. No. And Ragnar's like, come on, they're going to taste good. And Thorfinn's like, okay. And then he goes into the house and cue the reveal. Not Thorfinn. Oh my God, they're all blonde. Okay, Canute is in an apron, got his hair tied back. He's perfect housewife, perfect poise. He's like, let me serve you some rabbit soup.
So what you're saying is he's basically presenting himself to Thorfinn as a bottom.
I mean, that was the case since episode 12, but yes. Presenting this perfect meal on this finely laid out dinner table, and then as soon as Thorfinn gets a single drop of Canute's stuff,
whoa,
Thorfinn is like, wow, I'm into it.
You are shipping these two way too hard.
But in all seriousness, Thorfinn was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to cook. I don't want to. And then as soon as he drinks the soup, he's like, ha ha. It's all of his stress lines go away, and he's like, I'm back to being a baby. And I'm like, yes, just stay in that blissful mindset, because Canute is the only hands that can heal you.
Oh my God,
small child. But yes, for those people, cough, Alex cough, that say this isn't canon, I point to this scene right here.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, seeing how Canute appeared in this episode, especially this scene, is it fair? Does his character design qualify him to be a trap?
Trap is not part of my dictionary, so I cannot answer that question.
I don't know if he's counts as a trap character. He certainly looked like it in this scene.
Yeah, you can argue with yourself and your little.
Are you are you accusing me of headcanon where you're the one that's trying to get Canute and Thorfinn in bed together?
I'm accusing you of being transphobic.
I didn't say him being a trap was a bad thing.
I'm not getting into it. But yeah,
It was a good scene though. It sort of trying to figure out the right word to say. I don't want to say it humanizes Thorfinn, but it certainly brings him back down off of his high horse.
Thorfinn or Canute?
Oh, both really. Also, when you find out that Canute has also tried to cook for his father, King Sweyn, and then basically was told, no, this is not what, leaders, this is not what kings and princes do. It's like, and this is something that Canute himself is like, it's a hobby to him. It's something that he enjoys doing in his spare time. It's like, why would you deprive your child like this?
Toxic gender stereotypes ruining our youth. Literally from 1080 to present. Okay. So I guess we can talk about the actual important event that happened in this episode, which was Askeladd becoming Taylor Swift, aka a snake in the grass, and killing Ragnar in cold blood like a bitch. Do you think that was a good idea? Do you think Askeladd should... So clearly we're seeing that what Askeladd is trying to do is that he wants Canute to mature and become more leader-like and less submissive. And his plan to do that is to kill Ragnar. Now, do you think that's a good idea?
I think it's a good idea for Canute. I don't necessarily think it'll be a good idea for Askeladd going forward.
So you think it'll come...
I think it'll come back to haunt Askeladd, yeah. Especially, especially if Canute finds out what actually happens. Or what actually happened.
Just like the Ouroboros. If you're a sneaky snake, it's gonna come back and bite you in the ass. Mm-hmm. That's not how that myth goes, but it is in my mind. And do you think it'll actually work though? Do you think Canute's... So basically, Askeladd is taking... Actually, I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you, if I'm to believe my eyes from the OP, I'm gonna say yeah, it'll work.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that one of the things that was holding Canute back was his over reliance on Ragnar, and with him out of the picture, I think there is something to be said for him to grow as a person instead of having to rely on this person who has been told by the king to do everything for the prince. He's going to have to do some stuff on his own now and not so much rely on Ragnar. Now, could Askeladd have, accomplished the same thing without killing Ragnar? Maybe, but it was certainly the most convenient way to do it.
And what if the plan backfires and Canute just caves in on himself?
Hey, listen, Askeladd's already got his back up against the wall.
And we know how good his luck has been.
Yeah.
So Canute's going to kill himself, and then Askeladd's going to be killed by Thorkel. That's going to happen next episode. I'm waiting for that. Oh, yes. So before Ragnar died, he did reveal the backstory about Canute, which we already talked about. And I thought that Ragnar's last words to Askeladd were pretty heartwarming.
Mm.
He told Askeladd to tell Canute to make sure he cooks poultry for King Swine, which basically I interpret as like, stay true to yourself. Don't let anyone tell you who to be. Be your best self. Like, queen.
Yeah, I mean,
that's cute. That's cute and all, but like, if you keep doing you, you're probably gonna die. So maybe you shouldn't cook poultry for King Swine. Maybe you should cook poison for King Swine.
Or, just denounce him. That'd be good.
That was a metaphorical.
Okay. I will say one thing that was also kind of telling from the scene, and we'll have to see if it pans out going forward, is Askeladd promises Ragnar that he'll tell everyone that he died a noble death in battle. Do you actually think Askeladd's gonna do that? I think he'll tell that to Canute, but I'm not sure he'll tell that to everyone else.
Well, it's in his best interest to tell them that, so I'm sure he will.
Yeah, it's certainly in his best interest for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Askeladd seems to be playing that long game, and who knows? I still think some things are crumbling around Askeladd, though. I think that, as I said in a previous episode, the armor is starting to show cracks, and we'll see just how good of a strategist he is.
Honey, the igloo's starting to melt.
Okay.
Honey. And just one more thing I wanted to mention, that that shot of Ragnar dying in the middle of the dark forest in front of the setting sun. So sad. So beautiful composition there.
Yeah, it was a wonderfully composed shot.
Yes, lovely. Truly amazing.
I also like the fact that there's like a contrast within the scene. Like the sky is kind of bright as with the sun and the clouds, but then you have the snow that's just bright white.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that contrast as well.
I like that the foreground is all like these dark black trees.
Mm-hmm.
Really highlights the sunset in the back. God, like perfect selfie lighting. Take a selfie with a corpse. Oh my god, new hashtag trend. Hashtag corpses.
Corpses.
Yeah.
I heard you just desperately trying to come up with a hashtag.
I'm like, this is harder than it seems. Oh my god. Hashtagging is truly a talent that not everyone has.
So I do want to say, to kind of wrap this up here, even though the shot of Ragnar dying is kind of how the episode ends, it's worth mentioning that Askeladd and his men are aware that Thorkill is coming for them and that they know where Askeladd is. And they are preparing to get the hell out of the village that they're in. It'll be really interesting to see how that pans out and whether they can leave and get ahead of Thorkill's army before they catch up to him at the village.
Oh, honey, they ain't gonna leave. Canute gonna kill himself. Askeladd gonna be buried in the snow next to the
That's something else.
villagers.
It's gonna be interesting to see how Canute responds to the news that Ragnar is dead, because he's obviously not coming back. So if no one tells him, he's gonna assume something is up.
Canute going into a coma.
He's gonna have a panic attack.
Basically.
But yeah, this has left us on a really interesting note. There's two really big questions out there. How is Canute going to react to this, the fact that Ragnar is dead, and what are Askeladd's plans involving the imminent arrival of Thorkill and his men?
Yes, I'm very excited to find out.
Two paths are converging onto Askeladd, and it's not looking great for him right now.
It hasn't been for a while. I'm kind of feeling blue-balled for this death. You're kind of teasing me. It's like, oh yes, we're gonna kill Askeladd slowly and painfully, but you have to wait to see it. You have to wait. And I'm like, bitch, I've been waiting. But just one little random last thing is like, honestly, with all these last episodes, I'm feeling like Askeladd is more of a main character than Thorfinn at this point.
At this point in the story, I would say absolutely. It's almost like it's not even Thorfinn's story anymore. It's Askeladd's story. I do wonder how they're going to transition out of that, because Thorgil is obviously, or not Thorgil, Thorfinn.
I used to it too, bitch!
if it's not everyone being blonde, it's everyone having the name Thor in their name. I wonder how the story is going to transition to Thorfinn eventually being like the main focus of the story right now, because the main focus of the story is Askeladd and what the fuck is he going to do to get out of this mess.
Yeah, honestly, like, they're giving a lot of opportunities for Canute and Askeladd to grow as characters, but I mean, Thorfinn's been standing still as in character growth wise for a while. I don't know where his character is going, but probably maybe next arc he'll get some more focus, maybe. We'll see. Thank you all out there for dropping in to listen to us. We hope you enjoyed it, because we sure enjoyed bringing it to you. If you want to check out previous episodes of the podcast, you can find us on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify. If you want to keep up with what we're doing, you can join us on Discord, Facebook, Twitter, and our website. Shoot us an email if you have any questions, or if you have any ideas for topics you'd like us to talk about in the future. Links to all these things are down below in the description. I've been your host, Sho, and I will see you next time. Say goodnight, Alex.
Rabbit.
Yellow snow.
Oh God, no.